Today, what we're going to do is 1 and 2 step equations, but we're going to work with the word problems to see if we can create our own equations and then solve them. These first ones come off of our worksheet. If you have my worksheets, it will be in packet 2, the last page. That packet is entitled One-Step Equations, and it's the last page. Now, my suggestion to all of you for this page and on the test is if you come across multiple choice questions, the best way to solve those is to cover over the multiple choice answers and just work the problem. So that's why I haven't put the multiple choice answers up here on the board. This is the first one on the last page of packet 2. Charlie has X candies. He shares 10 with Betty and is left with 24 candies. Now, sometimes students try so hard on word problems that they pick it apart and don't think about it sensibly. Okay, let's just stop and think about this. There's this guy, he has a handful of candy, okay? We don't know how much candy, so they called it X. Remember, X is a variable, which means it can stand for any number depending on what the problem is. So he has a handful of candies. This is how we start, okay? So think about this. Charlie starts with X. Now, out of that, he pulled out 10 of them and gave them to somebody else. So what would that look like? We start with X candies, right? So that's where we start. And then he took 10 out. Well, that's subtracting, right? Mm-hmm. He took 10 out of his hand, and it says he's left with, or he ends up with 24. Okay, we don't know what he started with, but when he got finished sharing, all he had in his hand was 24. He is left with 24. He started in his hands, gave some away, so now he has, which means equals 2. Do y'all see it? Okay, then look at your multiple choice and see which one works.
I got, it was X take away 10 equals 24.
X take away 10 equals 24. So your multiple choice answer would be D. But do you see it's much easier than trying to match every one of those with the problem? If you just cover that over and say, I wonder what's happening here. Do y'all see? Okay, let's go ahead. It doesn't say to, I don't think. No, it doesn't say we have to solve it, but let's practice. Okay, so what would you do to solve to find out how many he started with?
10 to 24.
Okay, and before that, what are our 2 things we do? You might miss this.
First 10, bring it down. Then
Yeah, that's what Simon said. Come on, go more. First 2 rules, always the same, always the same.
Circle the variable, put a mark down, equal sign.
And circle the variable. Okay, if you will make yourself do this, this clears your brain of all the little bit. Okay. All right, so that says these are the 2 sides of the equation. This is the side we're going to look at. And yes, you guys were correct. Okay, I want the X by itself, so I have to get rid of a minus 10 because this sign goes with this. The sign to the left goes with the number. It's a minus 10, so my students here are telling me that I add 10 to both sides. It has to be on both sides because we're making it balance. Minus 10 plus 10 zeros out. And when I add straight down, I have an X left. And we know this is an invisible 1X, right? Mm-hmm. And we add here, which is 34. So you go back up into your problem. And X stood for the candies that he had in the beginning. He had 34. You guys see?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you guys are getting the equations really well, right? Okay. Any questions there on remote? So that's what I would like for you to
No.
do the rest of that page. I want to move on, I think. Let me look, make sure.
But there's no answer to it though.
Oh, it doesn't tell you to do that.
Oh,
I just wanted you to practice,
oh,
okay? So actually the answer to number 1 is just the D, okay? All they want you to do is create an equation, okay?
You put in the solve.
Yeah, you can say solve and you can practice if you want to. Okay. So that should give you an idea how to try those. Everybody good about that? Let's go to the second, it's packet 3. And it is page 3, I think so. Hang on. Was this the one where we skipped a page? I think that was just packet. Okay. This is the page. It looks like this. We're going to translate phrases. Okay. Translating phrases, multi-step equations. Okay. And if you numbered your pages, this is packet 3, page 3. Okay. Are you guys in the same place with me? All right. I'm going to put the first one up there. I don't want to spend a lot of your time writing on the board. When I get a smart board, we can have this already done. Twice the difference between, now, this is going to be a big review of our translation section that we had early on. Okay, it's of course before the holidays. If you look in your sections, there will be all the translation words that we worked with 6 times H and 3 gives 30. Okay, and this also, the equations say translate the verbal phrase into an algebraic equation. It does not say to find the answer. It wouldn't hurt you all to practice finding the answer, but the answers aren't given on the back. Okay, so what we have to do is go back and review our words. What does twice mean?
2 times.
2 times, good. Means 2 times. And then there were 4 words that meant start with a parentheses. One of them was difference. There was sum, difference, product, and quotient. And we talked about when we went through that section, we said if we see one of these 4 words that says immediately start with a parentheses. Okay? So just a reminder. So now we have, so far we have twice, 2 times, and it says the difference. And immediately we do that. And difference means subtract. So this is what that word tells you to do right here. You need a parentheses with a minus in it. Now we found out that after this, it will tell you what goes here and what goes here. And those values will be separated by the word and. So here's your and. Difference between, okay, so this goes in the front 6 times H. Remember that we can cram it together because cramming together means times.
Yeah.
Or you can put your times sign, it's fine. And says the back stuff is going to go there. The and separates the two things that go in the parentheses. Y'all see? And then when it says gives, that's the same thing as equals or will be. So it says gives 30. Now, the only difference that you will see in the answers is they probably will not put this multiply here.
Yeah, I'd probably be close to that.
They will just cram this up next to the parentheses, which means an invisible multiply. Do y'all see how this works? This, and you see the reason now why we talked about vocabulary before we got to this, right? Because your teacher is just incredible, right? Okay, twice means 2 times. The minute you see one of these words, you write a parentheses. And then after this, the 2 things that go in the parentheses will be separated by and. Okay? Gives is one of the words that means equals or will be or is or anything like that. Okay, it means equals. Are we good? Okay. You want to solve it? It doesn't say to solve it, but let's look at it. Because this deals with the distributive property that we talked about a couple of days ago, right? If you have a value, okay, here we go. There we are. Here's our H. Okay. And it's kind of nested in there, isn't it? But our please excuse my dear Aunt Sally said do the parentheses first, right? Now, up until now, inside the parentheses, we were able to find an answer right away, right? I mean, like it might say 8 plus 9, and you knew it was 17, right? But this time, the variable is inside, and so I don't know what 6h minus 3 is. I can't do that. But since it's a parentheses, I have to take care of it first. And the way I take care of it is to use the distributive property that we practiced. So now I'm going to take 2 times this value and 2 times this value. That's the distributive property. It says take 2 times each piece that's in the parentheses. So 2 times 6 H's is 12 H's. We have a minus. 2 times 3. Yes, you are correct. I'm hearing the correct answers. 30. Okay. And we circle the H so we can stay focused where the H is. That means we're going to have to get rid of the 12 and we're going to have to get rid of the minus 6. Remember our party? Which one do we have to get rid of first?
The outcast.
The outcast, the straggler, right? And who is that?
Anyone?
It's the minus 6, right? So if you want to know about the party scenario, go back to, was it yesterday's video? Okay, if I add 6 to this side, I've got to keep this equation balanced, right?
Yep.
Separate these. Plus 6. So now I have this, these are additive inverses. And so I have 12H equals 36. Yes?
Yep.
And we always look at what we have and see if we have to do more or are we finished. The only way we know we're finished is if the variable is by itself, and it's not. So circle the variable again. That tells us I still have to get rid of the 12. Now, the way we're going to get rid of the 12 is we have to look at how it's connected. It's connected by multiply. To do the opposite is divide. Divide by 12, divide by 12. And so we finally end up with H equals 3. Now, again, this worksheet doesn't say you have to find the answer, okay? But practice makes perfect, guys. The more you do it, the better. And I will work on mine and find answers if you want to check your answers, if you decide you want to do that. Are we good? How about online? Are we good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just let me know. Simon, you're staying up with us?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Let's look and see if there's another one that might give you some problems. And then I want you to try the rest on your own.
Miss Deborah,
Yes.
I had did this worksheet over the break, and I had problems with number 10.
Where it says volume?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have that one circled, so let's do that one. I will tell you that you won't see this used like this very much. And the reason it's circled is because it confused me also. So don't lose a lot of sleep over this one. Okay? Thinking ahead, okay. And I actually can't remember for sure what they mean by volume. Let me double check before I tell you the wrong thing. Ah. Okay. Just like I said, I'm going to go ahead and work this, but you're not going to see that on your GED test. That's really strange. I have a degree in math and taught for almost 30 years in the public schools, and I never saw this until this worksheet. So I'm going to tell you what they mean by it. I don't know if I can explain why. Maybe it's the of, I don't know. Volume of 8, they mean multiply. Like I said, don't stress over that. Okay, they mean multiply. So they're going to multiply 8, and it's a multiply, they said, and the product. Okay, product is one of those 4 words, you know, the sum, difference, and the quotient. So the minute that we saw that, we know we have to have parentheses and a time sign. Okay, because that's one of those 4 words, says parentheses, product means multiply. That's why we put a multiply. And we know that the next 2 things divided by and or separated by and will tell us what goes here and here. The product of, here's your and, so 5 goes here, Q goes here. And that's the end of the product. Okay, we're done with that. And then it says increased by, what does increased mean? Add 6. Here's another word for equals. Yields, gives, equals, is, will be. All of those things mean equals. And so yields is equals and 88. Okay? And again, I can't stress enough, I've never seen this. until this worksheet, okay? But the rest of it is really good practice. And let's go ahead and solve just because we're here and I already wrote it. Now, the only thing that's going to be different here is we probably won't have this. They probably won't put the times. They will just say 5Q. And you can change that whenever you finish writing this out. Okay, so we're going to solve this. Line down through the equal sign, circle the variable. Always, always, always. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, we're going to work on this side because this is where the variable is. This says to take 8 times 5Q. 8 times 5Q, it's all multiplied. So this is going to be 40Q. Y'all see? We have 40Q plus 6 equals 88. And we circle the Q so we know which side to work with. We have to get rid of the 40 and the 6. Which one goes first?
6.
The 6, because he's a straggler at the party. So we've got minus 6, minus 6. Now we have 40Q equals 82. Okay, I'm going to come up here. So I'm going to divide both sides by 40 because I want to get rid of the 40 and it's multiplied. Opposite is divide. And I have to divide this side by 40. This is one of those problems that wouldn't come out even, right? So now I have Q equals 82 over 40. And this can be simplified. Let's go down by 2 right now and see. So now I have Q equals 41 over 20. That's as far as it will simplify. If you want to change it to a mixed fraction, this means divide. So you'll take 41, divide by 20, go in 2 times, and you have 1/20 left over. These two answers are the same. This is the improper fraction simplified. This is the mixed fraction simplified. Okay? But again, what you're practicing is just making out the equation. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys will be working on those. Does that answer your question, Sherry?
Yes, because I didn't know what to do with that volume. I'm like,
I
what the
have it-
heck?
I have it circled on mine also.
And
So, yes, I
um,
kind of said, what the heck too.
and I have 8 with a star over it, but I don't remember why. Let me see.
Oh, thrice?
I got the answer, but I had put a star on it for some reason. I don't remember why.
Well, thrice is a word that we haven't used very much.
That means 3, right?
Yes, thrice means 3 times. Put that up here. It's a short one, so I'll write it out.
Oh, I know why I started. Probably because of that dropped word.
Dropped will probably be minus, but we'll look at it.
Well, in my answer, I put it as a divide. Put the
This one's a weird one too. Good practice, but you won't see it. Okay, 7 raised by. I would have thought that this would be plus, but apparently it means add. Thrice of C means 3 times C. Now the next part is weird. Dropped by a factor of,
5.
and I promise y'all, you will not see this on the GED test. Okay? But it says dropped by a factor of 5 means divided by 5. Is, we're good with is, and we're good with 2. Okay?
I got it.
Wow. Don't lose any sleep over this one. Let's solve it.
Ooh.
Oh, let's solve this sucker. Okay, so this is the side we're going to deal with because that's where the variable is. What do I need to get rid of first?
5.
The 5. Because remember, if we're dealing with a fraction and there's a bunch of stuff on the top or a bunch of stuff on the bottom, it is a set, which is parentheses. Whether they show it or not, it is a set. And remember that when we're solving an equation, we solve it backwards from the PEMDAS, okay? So that means that we're going to do all the add and subtract that's not in a parentheses. Then we will do the multiply and divide. Excuse me. Then we do the exponents, then we do the parentheses. Okay, we're going to do PEMDAS backwards. So we need to look for add and subtract that's not in the parentheses. Here's an add, but it's in the parentheses. That'll come last. So let's look for multiply and divide. Ta-dum, I have a divide right here. So I need to deal with this first, and you guys already knew that because you've already been practicing. So to divide by 5, and we want to get rid of it, we have to multiply by 5. We multiplied by 5 on this side. We multiplied by 5 on this side. The 5s cancel. And all I'm left with is 7 plus 3c equals 10. Okay, here's our c. We're going to have to get rid of the 7 and the 3. Which one first?
7.
The 7, because he's the straggler. This is the best friend. Remember the story? This is a plus 7, not that plus. You're not going to look at that for the 7. That plus goes with the 3. This plus goes with the 7. That's how I know it's plus, and that's how I know I'm going to subtract and subtract. So now I have 3c equals 3. So far, so good, right? But if we look at the equation, we know we're not finished because the c is not by itself yet.
So you have to divide this.
Good. 3 is multiplied. When they're crammed together, it's multiply. So I have to divide to get rid of it. I'm going to do this on both sides. 3 divided by itself is 1. So I'm left with 1c. And we know that the ones, the positive ones, are invisible. Equals 1. Okay? We good?
Yes.
Questions? All right. Now, what I'd like to do is just have you look at packet 4, because if you will remember, this is Thursday. On Friday, I don't like to introduce anything new on Friday. I will have a Zoom for the remote people on Friday, but I don't record on Friday. All we do is get on and we practice and ask questions about the week's work. Okay, so we can get all caught up and you don't feel stressed. So I would like to look at packet 4. It's the same thing that we're dealing with. Packet 4. there are 4 pages in here. The first 3 are who am I, okay? And all you're going to do is find out, you're going to write an equation and then find out the answer. All right, okay? So here's what they look like. Okay, and so the title of this is who am I? And what they're wanting you to find is the variable, okay? And so when it's talking about me, if you multiply me, that's the unknown. Okay, you didn't miss anything, Irene. I just wrote the first one on packet 4.
She had a couple of.
Okay, that's fine. This is the first one on packet 4, the who am I packet. Okay, so on these 3 worksheets, the me means the number that we're going to be trying to find, the mystery number. Okay, so this is going to be our X or N or whatever you want it to be. So it says if you multiply me, which is X, by 11, so I just multiplied X by 11, and add 1, you get 67. Y'all see? So these aren't too bad. Now, in this case, they want you to find the X. Okay, so find the X, y'all. I'm going to do it up here and talk about it. Draw a line down through the equal sign, circle your variable. We're going to find out what number I am, okay? So we're going to work on this side because this is where the variable is. I have to get rid of the straggler first. So I'm going to -1 and -1. I have 11x equals 66. Circle the variable. I still have some more to do. It's crammed together, so it's multiply, which means I need to divide by what I want to get rid of. Do exactly the same thing on the other side. A number divided by itself is 1. I have 1x left. And 66 divided by 11 is 6. Remember that a positive 1 is invisible. So I'm finished because the x is by itself. And so the answer to that first one is going to be, what number am I? I'm 6. Okay? Okay. How are y'all doing? Good.
I was gonna ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the problem that we were doing on the board,
Yes.
how do we know to use it backwards, the PEMDAS?
To use a what?
PEMDAS. That PEMDAS,
Oh,
how do we know that it has to be backwards?
when we're solving an equation, we do it backwards. That means if it's an equal sign, if you have an equal sign in it. If you're just doing an expression without, without an equal sign, that's when you use regular PEMDAS.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, because I was getting confused, how do we know when to use the backward PEMDAS and then the.
And all the years before, I never taught that you use it backwards. So you can just use the other things that we've told you, like the party story and that type of stuff. You don't have to worry so much about that, but I do want you to know that's what's happening.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? You guys ready to get to work?
So we're number 2?
I'll be here. Any questions online, guys? How are you doing?
Before you leave, before you get off, can you do, maybe let's do a problem on that, two-step equation, that paper where it says two-step equations, MCQ?
Yes. Oh, I was going to do that. I'm so sorry. Thank you for reminding me.
You will.
Yes, there's one more page on the packet 3. That last page. Oh, Sherry, thank you. I meant to do that and totally forgot.
Well, I had worked on a lot of this packet over Christmas, and this was one of the papers that I stuck away to the back.
And you just put it away, didn't you?
Yes, I said, ooh, not today.
You just freaked out, didn't you? Okay,
Yeah.
so the first one, this is on the two-step equation packet. If you're looking at that, that's packet 3. And this is the last page. So sheet 2, MCQ, that's multiple choice. Now again, ignore the multiple choice answers until you work the problem. It says if. This means they're going to give you something that's true. If 3z equals 8 minus z, and this is another thing they're telling you that's true, 2y minus 3 equals 5. Okay, they're saying this is true and this is true, and if those are true, what? They're saying then work this problem. Okay, they want to know what this is equal to. If this is true and that's true, they want to know what this equals. Are y'all okay with this? So, whenever you have an equation given to you that only has one variable in it, then we will be able to solve this equation by itself and find out what z is actually equal to. And then if you look over here, here's an equation and it only has one variable. So we can work this equation and find out what y is equal to. And when we know what the value of y is, we can put it here. And when we find the answer to z here, we can put it here. And then we'll know the answer. So it's having you solve 2 different equations. Let's look at the first. We're going to do these, okay? So 3z equals 8 minus z. Now, the first thing I want you to do here, besides this, I like making it dotted, okay, is if you see a letter that does not have a number in front of it, because every variable has a number in front of it, always. Since this isn't showing a number, then we know it must be the invisible one. Y'all see? Now, we found out yesterday that we draw a line down through the equal sign and then we circle our variable, but we can't circle the variable yet because it's in too many places. So we've got to take care of that first. And we talked a little bit about them being people, you know, and the z's and the z's, it's a family that's split between 2 yards. We need to get all the family back together, right? And so we could move this family over to here, but then I won't have anything here, which can be done. But if you move this over and make this 0, all that's going to happen is it's going to add extra steps to your problem. So it's better if this is the z side, get that z and bring him over here so he's with the rest of the z's. Does that make any sense at all to you guys? Okay, so it looks like multiply, right? And if we divided, that divide to me says here's something and I'm dividing it. I'm taking it apart. And if I take it apart, I'm going to leave part of it here. And I don't want to do that. In this case, I want this whole thing to go away. And this whole thing has a minus sign. So in this case, I'm going to plus a 1z and plus a 1z over here. And now I have 4 z's equal 8. Y'all see? And then here's the variable now, because it's only in one place. Now you can split these off because you want to leave a z here, but get rid of the 4. So we're going to divide now. And we find out that z is equal to 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So now we know that z is 2. That's going to go right here. Y'all see? Now let's find out what y is. They told us that this is true, so we can solve this. Line down through the equal sign, circle the variable, and we don't have to put variables together, do we? Because they're all in one place. So what do I get rid of first?
The 3.
The negative 3 by doing what? Add 3. So now I have 2y's equal 8. I'm going to divide by 2. And I get that y equals 4. Since I know the value of this in this problem, then 4 can go where the y is. So the value of this is 4 minus 2 equals 2. Y'all see? Does it make sense? Sherry Sue,
Yes.
make better sense?
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad you called my attention to that.
And also, there was another page in here called comparing qualities. So are we going? Do we need to do this paper or put it to the back?
Was it on what packet?
Well, I must have labeled it wrong because I got it marked packet 1, page 1, but it's
Well, the compare had to do with, I'm thinking it might have been the distributed property or the order of operations that we did on Monday.
it says where I missed Monday.
I think it was this Monday.
It said comparing qualities.
Inequalities or
Well,
equalities?
Well, it says QUANTITIES.
Okay, equalities. I think that probably came out of an earlier packet. Let me look quickly. Because I think the compares were in, yeah. Now, which one are you looking at? Compare.
Well, I got 2 of them, and I don't know I'm not sure what it wants me to do.
All you need to do is tell me what the title is and then what that little number is at the top right.
Well, let's start with compare equalities ES1.
Okay, that's page 2 in packet 1. Yes, that was in the order of operations.
Okay.
So which number on that page, or you just want to know what to do?
Yeah, I didn't do any of it because I didn't know what it wanted me to do. And since none of them had no equal sign, I said, well, you don't work it. And I didn't know what to do, so I just stuck it to the side.
Okay, look at number 1.
Okay.
Okay, the left-hand side says 2 times 3 plus 5, right?
Yes.
So what you're going to do is find an answer. You're going to multiply the 2 times 3 is 6 plus 5 is 11, right?
Yes.
Okay, 11 is on the left-hand side. Now you're
Okay.
going to do the right-hand side. 6 divided by 2 is 3 plus 5. So the answer to the right-hand side is 8, right?
Yes.
Then you just tell me in the instructions, it says use equals or not equal.
It's not
But
equal.
just put a not equal in the box because
Okay,
one of them's 11 and one of them's 8. Do you see?
yes,
Now, starting on number 7, they want you to use less than or greater than or equal,
okay,
but you're going to do the same thing. And then at the
Okay.
bottom, you're going to work all 8 questions. And then you're going to match, draw a line and match the answers that are the same.
okay, okay, okay. I was overthinking it.
Yes,
I didn't know what to do with it. I said, you don't
Okay.
work, you don't have no equals.
You'll whip that out in no time. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Brittany, I think you might have had a question a minute ago. Do you?
No,
Okay. So you're okay so far?
yes.
Okay. Any more questions from the gallery? Sherry, Brittany.
No,
I
I'm
have
good.
no questions.
Okay. Any more questions in the classroom yet? Not yet. Okay. Then I'm going to stop the recording. But first tell you how much I love you, right?
I love you too.
Yes.